Oh, hey, can we please talk about UFC 266? Holy shit, this is a good card, lads. This is a hell of a card. Like, I mean, it wasn't until I started researching it. I mean, obviously everyone knows who's on the main card, everyone knows roughly who's fighting, but when you look at the undercard, the prelims, and the Fight Pass prelims, there are some crazy fights on here, guys. So if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for the support. Basically what I'm going to do here is I like to look down the card and I like to look at bets where there's value. It's very difficult to predict who's going to win and who's going to lose in most instances in MMA. It's very unpredictable, and a lot of the time, the bookies get it exactly right. It's very difficult to get one over on the bookies. They're smart people, I'm telling you. But sometimes you can see bets where there's at least some value in the bet. So where the odds are higher than I feel they should be. And those are the terrible bets that I like to put down. So I am going to be whizzing through this card. This is the Burt Locker Fights in 15 for UFC 266. So yeah, let's get cracking. So first up, we're going to look at the 155-pound division. This one is actually the Fight Pass prelim headliner. It's a chap that I've not seen in a little while, Mr. Jaylin Tarantula Turner. He's somebody who I had my eye on for quite a little bit because, you know, obviously his nickname is the Tarantula. That's cool as fuck, right? Whereas you've got Udos Medic. His nickname is the Doctor. Hello? Appropriate. I love a good appropriate nickname as well. It's approps. You know, his nickname, his last name is Medic. His nickname, the Doctor. Although I don't feel like he's going to be, you know, helping anyone from their injuries. I feel like he's going to be trying to injure people himself. However, I would say he's got his work cut out for him against the Tarantula. Now, Jaylin Turner, as I said, the thing that impresses me about this kid is that he fights at 155. He fought briefly at 170. I believe he lost to Vicente Luque. No shame in that, really. But what's important is that he's super big for 155. He stands 6'3". That's kind of crazy for the 155-pound division. He's just got these attributes, and he's very good at fighting long as well. He's got very good striking. He's got, you know, pretty good submissions too. Now, he's not been around for about a year. It's been about a year. Last time he fought, he choked out Brock Weaver, that guy who looks like the kind of Native American fella. But yeah, that was a full year ago. Couldn't believe it. But now, Udos Medic, his opponent, is actually coming in as the favourite here, which is why I quite like Jaylin Turner for this, purely because he is an underdog. Now, I don't know as much about Medic, I'm not going to lie. He was in the Dana White Contender Series, got a quick KO, and then he got a quick KO in his UFC debut. So, no doubt, he is pretty good, right? 7 wins, 7 finishes, undefeated. That is why he's coming in as the favourite, right? Now, the thing is, like I said, you know, Medic, he comes from Serbia. It might be bad to pick against this dude because guys from that kind of area of the world, I mean, he probably grew up in the rusty shell of a car, didn't he? He's tough as they come, basically. But what I like here is the value that you are getting on Jaylin Turner to get the finish because, right, whilst Jaylin Turner has been beaten, he's been beaten 5 times. If you look on the flip side, he's got 10 wins. All 10 are finishes. All 10. So you're getting 3.25. So that's, you know, you bet about 2.25 to 1 on Jaylin Turner getting the finish. A man who's got 10 wins and finished all 10 of those wins. And like I said, he's going to have his work cut out for him, but he is very good. And the odds are quite close because on paper, this one could go either way. So for me, the value on the double chance is fantastic. So I'm adding that to the bet slip. Lovely stuff. Then we have got Shamal Abdullah against Chris Dagos. Now, this one is what I like to call name recognition bias, right? So the heavyweights, they're always fun. I'll always bet on the heavyweight fights. I just think toss a coin, basically. Now, this one, on paper, I feel like it's really close. Now, the odds are not close, and I'll tell you why. Basically, Shamal, I'm going to call him Shamal. They're both the same size, basically, give or take. Shamal comes in a little bit heavier. Their reaches are more or less the same. Now, Shamal Abdullah, he has got 25 fights, 20 wins, 5 losses, 9 knockouts, 4 submissions, and he is the age of 40, which, for the heavyweights is just entering his prime, literally just entering. Because like the heavyweights, they fight till they're old, man. He's like he is nowhere near past 40, is nowhere near past it for a heavyweight, nowhere near. Now, I don't really understand why Shamal is an underdog here. In fact, I do understand. It's the name recognition bias. For some reason, I don't know why, I know who Chris Dagos is. I know who he is. Obviously, he's impressed me somewhere in the past because I actually recognised his name. I did not recognise the other dude's name. That is why the bookies have given it the way they have, because on paper you look at their resumes, right? Look at Shamal's resume. He's beaten Tybura. That's a hell of a win. That's a ridiculous win. He's beaten Orlovsky. Orlovsky is a gatekeeper, but he's still a test. That is a test that you have to pass to get to that part of the division. So I don't even use the term gatekeeper disrespectfully. Orlovsky is a solid test to see if somebody is worthwhile in the heavyweight division or not, and you have to pass that test. And like I said, Shamal did. And he also beat Walt Harris as well. These are all great names in the heavyweight division. So whilst Dagos, he looked really good against Oleanik, right? Don't get me wrong, he looked great in that fight, but that is the best person that he's beaten. He has nowhere near the experience that Shamal does. And Shamal is also a master of sport in kickboxing. And when you've got a heavyweight who is a master of sport in kickboxing, right, and everything else on paper is as close as that, when you're getting 4.5 plus 4.5, so that's 3.5 to 1 in English, on the knockout, you're taking that bet. I'm taking that bet. I'm all over that. That's my pick of the week. Pick of the week. Shamal Abdurakhimov, yeah, by knockout. Shamal Abdurakhimov by knockout on the bet slip. Lovely stuff. So, honourable mention to another great fight, Malam Hayas versus Morab Dvalishvili, who is my pick for, he's the dark horse of that 135 division. Brilliant. My pick for that one is Marab by decision. I think that's one of the safest bets in sport, to be perfectly honest, but unfortunately the bookies know that too, so there's no value on that one, so I won't go into too much detail. However, we can move on to Dan Hangman Hooker taking on Nasrat Hakparast at £155. Now this is a real step up in competition for Nasrat, don't get me wrong, right? Dan Hooker, he's really good, he's fantastic, he's almost elite, he just seems to fall short when he reaches those real top levels. I mean, the last time he looked really good was against Raging Al back in 2019. I mean, before then he knocked out James Vick, that was very impressive, but Dan Hooker, he seems to come unstuck against the absolute best. Now, Nasrat Hakparast, he might prove that he's in that conversation, but he hasn't yet. So, for me, Dan Hooker is rightfully coming in as the favourite, as the odds reflect up here. I do think that they're right here, that Dan Hooker, he is better in every area. He has the reach, he's probably slightly faster, he's probably a bit more technical as well, and his chin is also very good, his last fight notwithstanding. Now, what I like here is, can I draw your attention to the +11 on the Dan Hooker submission, right? His nickname is the Hangman. You know why they call him that? Because he's great at choking people. Apparently in training, like that's what he was known for. Just, you know, guillotines, rear nakeds, all over the place. Like, submissions are things it's something that Dan Hooker likes to go for. It's part of his real MO. It's part of his attack plan. And when you've got somebody who is, I think that Dan Hooker is likely to win that fight. I feel like the bookies have definitely got that bang on the money, right? So he's going to win one of three ways, right? Knockout, submission, or decision. For me, one of the ways he likes to win is by submission. So when you're getting 10 to 1 on that and it's a 1 in 3, there's value there. That is value. Value all day. So 10 to 1, +11, Dan Hooker by submission, bang that on the bet slip. There is tremendous value in that bet. Absolutely tremendous. And Jesus Christ, we're only just getting to the main card. Can you believe it? Also, could you like and subscribe, you fucks? Huh? Just help me out. Just like, subscribe, comment. Please let me know, who are you betting on? I love talking about this stuff. Tell me who you're betting on. Call me an absolute dickhead. Tell me I'm insane for betting on submissions for Dan Hooker. Whatever you want. It helps the algorithm. So just do it. Throw a comment in there. Cheers. Much appreciated. And obviously, if you're listening, just, yeah, you know, but if you know someone that might enjoy this content, just let them know. Jesus Christ. Just help me out here. Come on. Anyway, moving on. Curtis Blaydes versus Jaylin Rosenstruik at 265. Now, I love both of these guys. We all know the score here. Curtis Blaydes is going to try and take this one down. And it's a tough one to call because look, it's so obvious what each guy wants to do. Biggie Boy wants to catch him coming in, and Curtis Blaydes wants to take him to the ground and bash his head in. The question is, who's going to come out on top? For me, right, the smart money is like Curtis Blaydes is just going to take him down and smash his head in. I'm a big fan of both these guys, but I've got to take the value here. Because let's be fair, as dominant and as good as Curtis Blaydes is, because he is an absolute stud, by the way, if you didn't know, he's got one weakness: power punches. He comes unstuck against them every single time, or at least he has done so far. Jaylin Rosenstruik, he is a power puncher. He has got power. He's an excellent kickboxer. Like, he could also catch him. Do you know what I mean? That is very much on the cards. And again, when you've got a heavyweight who is as good at kickboxing as Jaylin Rosenstruik, and you're giving me 4.50, 3.5 to 1 on the knockout, I am taking it all day. All day. Because, look, at the end of the day, Blaydes is most likely going to win this fight. I'm not going to lie to you. This is probably one of my riskiest bets of the night. But I'm a dreamer. I like to dream. I like to think big. I want to see that big knockout from Biggie Boy. It's going to happen. 4.5, 3.5 to 1 on the bet slip. Now we're moving into the people's main event. Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. And the betting lines have shifted massively on this one. Mostly based on how awful Nick Diaz looks. He does, look, I get it, right? People say, oh, but he was never ripped. He was never like a bodybuilder. Yeah, he never looked like that, though, you fucks. You're dreaming, right? He never looked fucking spaced out. The way he was walking just looked weird, right? He looks like he just rolled off the couch. Okay, he never looked like a bodybuilder. People go, oh yeah, he's skinny fat. No, but he at least looked like he'd been training. It doesn't look like he's been training. They had to move this fight to middleweight, and it wasn't for Robbie Lawler's benefit. It was because Diaz was not making fucking 170 if his life depended on it. That wasn't happening, right? That is alarm bells. Alarm bells. Now, the odds have come in massively on this one. Little side note, I do, for my Patreon, I basically do an audio podcast of me going through and doing my research. I did mention that you had to get your bets in yesterday because when people see the state that Nick Diaz is in at the press conferences and things like that, the odds are going to come in massively on Robbie Lawler, and exactly that happened. So if you were going to get your bets in, it was yesterday. So moral of the story, just sign up to the Patreon. It's £1 a month and you get loads of extra content. And it's fun. We have a fun time. Early access to picks, bonus stuff, and like I said, the time to bet on Robbie Lawler was yesterday, not today. That being said, still bet on Robbie Lawler because I do not see this going any other way. At the end of the day, I'm a huge Nick Diaz fan, but he looked so bad just like when he was like moving around like in front of the cameras. He took his shirt off. I was like, what's happened? You catfished us, Nick. Do you know what I mean? What happened to the guy we saw on Instagram 6 months ago looking absolutely shredded, coming straight off of a triathlon? That's not... What happened? Come on, man. Maybe he's like just tricking all of us. Maybe he's tricking me. Maybe it's all a trick and he's going to come out and look better than ever. But I don't think he will. I think Lawler is going to come in. I think he's going to do what he hasn't done recently. I think he's going to pull the trigger. I think he's taking Nick Diaz's head off. You get him... Well, I got plus 3.25 on Lawler by knockout, because at the end of the day, Nick Diaz could still submit him. He's still one of the best submission artists in the world. However, how's he going to get to the floor? What's Nick going to do? Shoot a power double? Yeah, because he's real famous for doing that, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, he could go to the floor in a scramble, but I don't see... Look, at the end of the... Nick, he looks really bad, and I feel like Robbie has at least been in there enough to stay sharp enough to knock someone's head off. Now, Shevchenko against Murphy, I'm not going to go too far into, but if you like an underdog, Lauren Murphy's your gal, you know? She is your gal. She's plus 7.50, plus 6.5 to 1. That is, if you like an underdog, have a go, because at the end of the day, every champion's got a fall. I don't think it's going to be this week, but at the end of the day, every fight is different. No two fighters are the same. No, because like MMA, it's a crazy sport, man. I've seen some real strange shit happen. Now we've got the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. Now this one is a super fun fight. Really, really like this one. Mostly because they don't like each other. And that's always a little bit more fun. And for me, right, usually I kind of like both fighters involved, but I have a clear favourite here. My clear favourite is Alexander Volkanovski. I'm such a huge fan of the bloke. Do you know why? He's just fun. He's a fun bloke, isn't he? He's a bit of a lad. He's a bit of a lad, and he's fun without being a complete dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like Conor McGregor's fun, but he's a complete fucking knobhead. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to spend any time. I wouldn't want to have a drink with Conor McGregor because I feel like he's just a bit of a knobhead. Whereas Volkanovski, I would love to have a beer with him because I feel like he's just a fun dude. Do you know what I mean? That's the big difference, isn't it? So anyway, it's not that I dislike Ortega. I don't dislike him. I used to like him. But then when he fought Zombie and he came out afterwards going, oh, all the people that rode with me, like, you know, thanks, and all the people that bet against me, like, fuck all of you. It's like, dude, you got slapped up by Max Holloway. You disappeared for 2 fucking years. We hadn't seen a peep from you. Then you come out and you fight somebody who's as good as a Korean Zombie. Yeah, some people placed bets against you. Yeah, they had you as an underdog. Fucking dry your eyes, mate. Fucking hell. Don't take it so personally. Jesus Christ. And funnily enough, Ortega's coming in as the underdog in this fight as well, so you better get the box of tissues out, lads. Going to be crying about it again. Oh, they have me as an underdog. It's disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. It's realistic. It's realistic because Volkanovski is probably winning this fight. Volkanovski, honestly, I think he's better everywhere except with the submissions, right? Don't get me wrong. Ortega looked sensational against Korean Zombie. His boxing looked so sharp and his striking looked fantastic. But the problem is Volkanovski, he outpaced Max Holloway. On 2 occasions, he outpaced him, and Max Holloway outpaced Ortega. I know MMA math doesn't work like that. However, I would say that Volkanovski, the way he puts a pace on people, he fights his fight. If he fights his fight, it's going to be a horrible night for Brian Ortega. Because even on the ground, go and watch Dan Hardy's breakdowns. Honestly, they're so tremendous. But even on the ground, like Volkanovski puts on this pace that makes it very difficult for jiu-jitsu guys to even attack with anything. Because you're just getting punched. Like the best, like ground and pound is a brilliant defense for jiu-jitsu. Strikes change everything. They change everything. So I really like Volkanovski in this fight. But with that being said, the time to beat Volkanovski, if you're going to beat him, is now, right? He had COVID not that long ago, right? All of his training has been interrupted in Australia. I doubt he's had the most smooth camp in the world. The time to beat him, if you're going to beat him, is now. And I don't think that Ortega will beat Volkanovski. With that being said, I also want Volkanovski to win. Do you know what I mean? He's clearly my favourite out of the 2 fighters. Love the bloke. I'm going to be cheering for him. I think he's better in every area. I do enjoy value on a bet though, which is why I'm taking Brian Ortega by submission. Because there's value there, right? These bets aren't necessarily on what I think is going to happen, but I look at where there's value. Because you're getting 7.5, that's 6.5 to 1. On the submission. For me, that is the most likely way that Brian Ortega wins this fight, because he is a submission wizard. Like, as much as, like, you know, I talk a little bit of shit on Ortega, whatever, like, he's never going to see this, so what the fuck does it matter? But I do understand he is one of the best in the world. He's so fucking good, man. Like, his submission game is like on a whole level that's just not even fathomable. Like when he got the single arm guillotine on Cub Swanson, like he kind of switched over in like mid-air, like he like took off one and like kept the hold on. It was never seen it before. It's crazy. It's crazy how he managed to finish that submission, and it's a credit to him. When it comes to submissions, if he gets a hold of anyone's neck, Volkanovski's neck included, it's going to be game over. And you're getting 7.5, 6.5 to 1 on the best weapon that Brian Ortega has, sign me up to that bet. I'm putting it on the slip. I'll be cheering for Volkanovski, but I'm taking the value in my bet, and I am putting all of those bets together for a cheeky 5-fold. It is Turner by knockout submission double chance, Abdullah knockout, Hooker submission, Rosenstoik KO, Lawler KO, submission for Ortega as well. That is 19,003.36. That is 19,000 to 1, guys. You are welcome. Oh, that's a terrible bet, but come on. If anything's worth a quid, tell you what, this is more fun than a lottery ticket because I'll get to watch people punch each other in the face. And yeah, I'll be wrapping these bets up, doing a nice review of all of them, see how terrible they all went. It's always nice to eat all my humble pie after I make these predictions. So that'll be on Tuesday. So yeah, anyways, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.